Okay, I think it's time, little buddy. You ready? Cat's on the desk. He's ready. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Houston. We have a problem where all the problems just keep piling up for everybody involved everywhere, doing everything they could possibly imagine. Let's see what we got. Trump was arraigned yesterday on 35 felony counts, all dealing with falsifying business records to cover other crimes. Essentially, it's tied to payoffs he made to people via likely Michael Cohen, and they used offshore accounts to try to conceal the source of the money, and it included a payoff to a doorman for wanting to sell information that he knew about Trump having an illegitimate child. So, that's a new revelation. That's, well, there you go. Also, Pete Sessions from Texas sent a letter to George Palikaris about MMTLP and the halt, and that they are looking into investigating why FINRA did it, and it seems to, not fit with what FINRA said was the reasons. So we've got that going for us. Ron DeSantis can't find any professors in Florida. There's entire group of pre-med students who can't take the second year chemistry courses because they can't find any chemistry professors at the University of Florida willing to teach, and they won't have their prereqs in time to take the MCAT to get into medical school. So, oops. That's what happens when you mess with tenure and you tell teachers what they can and can't say at the university level. They go, you know what? I can get a job elsewhere. And then they go elsewhere, and then your entire state loses qualified educators, and you're going to suffer after that. If you can't attract talent to teach, then you won't have doctors, you won't have lawyers, you won't have anyone that will be qualified to do specialized jobs in your state. You have to import them from elsewhere, which means you're going to have to pay them more. Also, while DeSantis is on his everything is woke bent, home insurance has gone up 60% in Florida, and people are beginning to not be able to afford to insure their homes, which in a state that gets ravaged by a hurricane once a year is bad news for the citizens of your state. That means when the next hurricane comes in, the population won't return because the homes won't get rebuilt, and they'll just leave forever. That's a really shitty way to run your state if you aren't going to regulate the insurance industry and ensure that homes can be insured. Like I said, DeSantis sucks. Anyway, boo! Okay, off. 2 days in a row, everything's off. Cat, everything's off. Dogs, everything's off. Everything's off. Okay, I'm sure we'll get into it here with the Chatterinos. Okay. Also, I'm going to be on the PPP show tonight, 8:30ish Central Time, which means in, 2 hours and 40 minutes, 2.5 hours, somewhere around there. So when I get the link for that, I will post it. They have not sent me it yet. I don't think so anyway. Look in there. Nothing from PPPPP. Okay. So, yes, that's coming. Okay. Iggy Limon. No, we're just saying hit the like button. Yes, hit the like button. Like, subscribe, pat your friend on the back, help someone out, do your thing. Aaron Salentine, Houston GTII short squeeze countdown, April 15th dividend deployment. For every 10 shares you own, you have to deliver 1 share. Buying pressure of 10% of the float is coming. Is that how UT works for shorts to short the stock on the buying back? I mean, it sounds like GTII is trying to do like a death blow. I'm all for it. Do whatever weird things you can to force short staff to cover positions or close positions. Get it. I don't think the handout's 15th. I think the date of record's the 15th. So you've got 10 days to buy, or 8 days to buy, so it settles on the 15th, whatever. So 10-ish trading days, 8 to 10 trading days. So by all means, I mean, anything to screw them over, I'm happy with. They're shorted a lot. What was the short interest on GTII? Well, there's really, that's it. Just 3 days to cover. It must be on the reported. This is saying it's only 0.41% shorted. This is Fintel. That does not seem to sit right at all. Because that is like no short interest whatsoever, if that's the case. 0.68 days to cover, so basically they could cover their entire short interest in a day. That doesn't seem right. Not at all. So, if this is correct, which I don't think it is, then it won't do spit. If it's completely wrong, and the short volume, the short interest is way higher than this, then, because this says only 800,000 shares are shorted. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right at all. Especially at $1.49 when it's higher than it has been. Because it means, yeah, it's been as low as 43 cents in the last year. As high as $9. I doubt that they've bought back and closed their positions on it. But maybe the scare of this is causing it. But the price would be going up if they're closing positions. So I don't think this is right. But if it is what all the GTII players are saying it is, then yeah, it's going to be brutal. B-Ball 3710, never been against gay marriage, but only in 10 years, half the country can't define a woman. Seems like an inch went a mile. Live your life, I don't care, but words are becoming meaningless. The whole define a woman thing is silly. I don't understand why you can't hold the two thoughts in your head that there are biological women and there are self-identifying women. I have no problem with either existing. They've existed throughout history in every culture you know of for thousands of years. Hell, there's even a trans emperor or empress of Rome. Like, been around for thousands of years. You go to Hawaii, they're called Mahus. You go to Samoa, they're Fa'afafini. Twin spirits here in America. Half of Shakespeare's plays involve plot lines where men dress as women and women dress as men, and were all originally done by men dressed as women, because women weren't allowed in the theater. I don't care. Like, just treat humans with the dignity that they want and deserve, and there you go. So, I don't care if you were biologically born as a woman or if you became one through a transition. Frogs can transition, slugs can transition. There are all sorts of creatures that can do that. You have fish that can switch one way or the other depending on the temperature of the water. I have no problem with people existing as however they want to exist. Doesn't harm me, doesn't harm them, doesn't harm anyone. Aaron Salentine, Houston, do you believe Congress or FINRA will finally give in and notice the only way to close these short positions in MMTLP is to let her run them 2 trading days? I personally see no other. The other way that would be done is the government does an investigation, negotiates a settlement price, and then makes an offer. Basically saying, hey, you can accept this offer, and if you don't, we'll force this one on you. And that would be a way it's done. I think the best way is to let the market do its thing. Make short sellers actually come face to face with infinite risk. They assumed infinite risk. Let them know what that's like to experience it. And maybe it'll wipe out enough short sellers and make the rest of them gun shy to purposely try and destroy companies that shouldn't be destroyed. I think there needs to be a lesson learned, and we need to ensure that they learn that lesson. Aaron Salenstein got to set them limit orders between $1,000 and $4,000. Time to be a millionaire. Set them as high as you want, baby. There's Curious Chapman saying the 415 is a data record for GTII. Aaron Salenstein, just letting you know, Webull for MMTLP will let you put limit orders once it starts trading at $1 million a share, but only let me do one of them and not a bulk of shares. Hey, it's better than most trading apps. Michael Steegs, Houston, did you see that among the 10 most shorted banks are Bank of America, JP Morgan, and Citigroup? Are we finally going to see some price action? And again, they can't be naked shorted, so these are legit shorts that are happening. These are borrowed shares being sold. One of those is going down. I'm going to bet of the three, of Bank of America, JP Morgan, and Citigroup gets hit first. That's going to be the first one. There's been more bad news about them published than the other two, and they don't have an investment bank arm like Bank of America and JP Morgan. So they're going to be like ripe for the pickings, and the others will eat them like carnivorous king rats or something. Wheatwild, Houston, hey buddy, that birthday of yours is getting close. Please make Schwab collapse in the next week or so. Happy Passover. Yeah, the rumblings on Schwab are pretty bad. I'm not sure the time frame that Schwab is going to get eaten, but it sounds like they're rickety. Money market accounts are coming next. That was the thing I read today, is that the underlying assets and money market accounts are doomed. So commercial real estate, long-term low interest bonds, money market accounts, those things on the domestic side are just eating dirt. And on the foreign side, you've got foreign bonds, Chinese real estate bonds, Chinese municipal bonds, Chinese commercial bonds. They're all doing pretty poorly also. Saudi Arabia and OPEC announced cutting back oil production again. So they're going to artificially tighten the oil market, trying to jack up the cost, which goes with, what the U.S. should have done in 2020 when oil prices collapsed and the value of oil companies dropped is instead of giving bailouts to ExxonMobil and Chevron, Texaco and stuff, they should have just bought them and made a national oil company. And then you wouldn't have to worry about like auctioning off land to be drilled. You just drill it because we own the land. And we could dictate whatever price we wanted on the open market for oil, and the rest of the world would have to follow. So, we could make oil $10 a barrel if we wanted to. And just eat the costs and watch Saudi Arabia go, no! Fuck you, OPEC. So, yeah. It's going to be, everything's just so weird. It's like the weather during the spring. The whole saying, like, if you want the weather to change, wait 5 minutes or move 5 miles. That seems to be the market. Like, everything is so tedious that, you just wait a minute or move to a different type of market and everything's just going to completely be different. It's weird. BOFH, I'd rather Schwab not collapse. I have retirement money in their dividend ETF. I do wonder what would happen with such ETFs. Like, if they go under, clunk, and they collapse, another brokerage will come along, buy up the assets for pennies. Would that include the ETFs, or the ETFs get sold off to pay other things? I don't know how that would work out. I wonder what the SEC, FDIC, FTC, all those acronyms would have to do to divvy that stuff up. I don't know. Snowboard 1201. Sorry about ETF. I want more dominoes to fall. That is BF. That's the question. I'm curious how that works. When Schwab collapses, who takes over managing ETFs? I guess it gets sold, auctioned off like all their other assets. That'd be my guess. Monkey butt. What are you doing over there? You're making all sorts of slobbery sounds. You're just staring at me. She's just like licking and staring at me. Dog Mom, love your show, Houston. I really appreciate you continuing your show and up and make us smile. I hope you're doing fabulous. You make a difference in many lives. Well, thank you, Dog Mom. It's just you and Jimmy D are just here to flatter me. BFH, yeah, but I need to go to a credit union this Saturday and open an account. Problem is trying to find a good one that has decent perks, is a PITA, and have no clue how to open an account at all, to be honest. I mean, opening a credit union account is the same as opening a bank account. You just go in like, here's money I want an account, and then you are now a member. Sometimes credit unions, you've got to be from a particular industry. Like, you know, back in the day, Boeing Employees Credit Union was only for Boeing employees and their families. Today, it's open to everyone. The Washington State Education Association Credit Union is only open to teachers and employees of schools. Others, like, you know, have local Kitsap County Credit Union. If you live in Kitsap County, you can be a member of the credit union. So some are just open to whoever's in your community. Others are open to whoever's in your industry, and so on. I just look into that, see which one works for you. William Morgan, this just in, corporate bankruptcy filings in the first 2 months of 2023 hit a 12-year high. What was going on 12 years ago, kitty cat? What was going on 12 years ago? Could it have been the tail end of the Great Recession? What could it be? Bill Coyne, China, 3 to 4 million plus new cars sitting legally cannot be sold. Possible black swan event affecting the world. Tesla is doing great. So China has a bunch of cars. Are these cars imported cars that they built? I'd be curious to know. Because one problem China has with their cars is that they can sell them domestically into like some lax countries, but they can't sell them into major markets because they can't pass safety standards. And that's one of the reasons why Geely bought Volvo. It's to like learn how to make safe cars. Man, there's some crazy crash test videos from not too long ago of like a smart car at a 35 mile an hour test going bonk into a wall, and then sort of a Volkswagen Vanagon looking Chinese bus 35 miles an hour into a wall and just going crunch and just disappearing. And so it was like the NTSB is like, yeah, you can't sell these here. You need bumpers and crumple zones and airbags and, you know, door frames and all sorts of things. China could solve that problem probably by trying to export those cars to lax countries. I mean, there's no like equivalent NTSB in the Congo or in Uganda or probably like Bhutan or whatever. So I'd be curious to see. Do you remember 0809 when we did the cash for clunkers? We tried to take as many cars off the road as we possibly could so people would be forced to buy new cars. And a lot of great classics got destroyed in that. Oh my goodness, that was so sad. Anyway, but also a lot of new cars that had been built had to get destroyed as well. So here in Washington, the Port of Aberdeen had like tens of thousands of Hyundais that had been come over from Korea. They realized there's going to be no market for them, and they sat there for years until they finally recycled all of them. That might be coming for quite a few of these car companies if the supply chain gets its act back in order. Because right now, like, yeah, the cars aren't quite selling the way they should, but that's because we've got a really low production. But China, 34 million new cars just sitting, can't be sold. Seems like big news. Quiet Quest, MMTLP news. I want settlement in a lifetime dividend. You can get that too. I'm not sure exactly how a structured settlement would work in that, but I mean, 30 cents a share every month for the rest of your life. Cool, whatever. But the big MMTLP news I saw today was the Pete Sessions letter to George Palikaris saying, we're looking into this. It appears FINRA did some sketchy things. So that's good news. We've got Ralph Northam in South Carolina, who has requested the blue sheets from FINRA. And we got Pete Sessions. We got at least 2 members of Congress looking into it. Hopefully more will be jumping in. Okay. Gimon says, I compared mine in a spreadsheet before signing up online. I assume credit unions. I called them when I ran to a snag, and they're able to verify everything that way. All right. And I already lost my spot. How did that happen so quickly? Oh, there it is. Okay. William Morgan, attention Adam Aaron and AMC board. We are bringing class action lawsuit against you. We have asked you to cancel the reverse split to avoid litigation to no avail. What's that from, William Morgan? Started consultation at 8 a.m. Pacific time. We are serious about taking you all to court. What's that from, William Morgan? I have no idea. Is that a new lawsuit? Or the one that just settled? That I don't know. Miss Missy, picture ID with current address, something else, etc. Phone bill to prove your address. Social, go in with a check or money order. Ask to speak with account rep. Oh, how to get credit union signed up. Just like a bank. You got to prove who you are. Give them some money, and they go, cool. Lots of ways. The Super Mario movie was rad. Go check it out. Okay. I didn't even know it had come out yet. Yay! I saw the Barbie trailer. It looked ridiculous and made no sense whatsoever. Oh, get that bone. While BOFH, maybe it'll be worth looking into moving those savings somewhere else. Not financial advice, not financial advisor. It seems as though Schwab is going down, just a matter of time. It's always, isn't it interesting, like, the ones who make the biggest moves at the latest point are always the first ones to go under. I think about like Washington Mutual. Washington Mutual was the largest savings loan in the world when they collapsed. And they had been gobbling up local banks like crazy all over the country to like go from regional bank in Seattle to becoming an international giant commercial bank. And they made moves really quickly and really late in the game and then just bit them in the butt. And you got Schwab, who recently, within the last couple of years, bought out USAA's brokerage, and now they're taking on TD Ameritrade, and now they're like quivering. It's always fascinating when that happens. Like they're like, "Oh, I'm so big and powerful, I'm going to take over everyone," and then they're like, poof, they're gone the next day. Is Schwab Bank or brokerage in trouble? Yes. Yeah. Now TD got bought by Schwab, so they're a Schwab company now. So they're part of that Schwab envelope. If they go under, then assets get sold, and someone else is going to have to pick them up. Tanya Motes, Houston. Why does every week seem like the bottom and the best time to buy, and every week the price goes lower? Everything I have bought into is around 30 cents except GME. That does seem to be the way it is. GME does seem to be the one that's held its value the longest out of almost all those. I mean, well, Cost is up there. Where's Cost right now? I haven't looked at them recently. Bing. Cost sitting at 448, so it's down. It was steady like $14 for quite a long time. It had its recent low. Let's see here. Yeah, it spiked to 128 on January 21. It's at its yearly low right about now. It has at $9 back in August. So it's been, but it's mostly GME is the one holding its own the most against everyone. Bitcoin, check out the Tetris movie. Lots of fun. There's a movie for Tetris? How do you make a movie for Tetris? Like, there's a movie for Pong. It's amazing. The characters are just top notch. Then again, they made I can't remember if Tron was a game first or if they made the movie Tron first, but hey, You can get characters in anything, I guess. Stretch out, dog. Come on, buddy. Joan Ape Mellencamp. Big booty Latinas are hot. He better not ban them. I'm telling you, he's doing lots of things that are not very popular right now. I would not put it past him to be like, there's a legal butt size in Florida, and any butts bigger than this are illegal. And then he'll finally lose the public, I think. Javier Houston, I read about hookworms and how it could have been a reason why education lagged in the South. What is your take on that? I was not aware that we had hookworms in America. I thought that was an African continent problem. If you guys don't know what hookworms are, they are a crazy parasite. So if you walk around barefoot, they hook into your feet, they get into your bloodstream, and it's part of their cycle. They have to they go through some sort of metamorphosis, and then, crap. Can't remember enough about them. Let's look it up entirely. Hookworms. Okay. Estimated 576 to 740 million people in the world are infected with hookworm. Hookworm was once widespread in the United States. Oh, it was in the United States, particularly in the southeastern region, but improvements in living conditions have greatly reduced hookworm infections. Hookworms, delicious, are a whipworm known as soil-transmitted helminths, parasitic worms. Together, they account for a major burden of disease worldwide. Hookworms live in the small intestine. Hookworm eggs are passed in the feces of an infected person. The infected person defecates outside, near bushes in a garden or field, or if the feces of an infected person are used as fertilizer, eggs are deposited in the soil. They can then mature and hatch, releasing larvae, immature worms. The larvae mature into a form that can penetrate the skin of humans. Hookworm infections is mainly acquired by walking barefoot on contaminated soil. One kind of hookworm can also be transmitted through the ingestion of larvae. Most people infected with hookworms have no symptoms. Some have gastrointestinal symptoms, especially persons who are infected for the first time. The most serious effect of hookworm infection are blood loss leading to anemia. In addition to protein loss, hookworm infections are treatable with medication prescribed by your healthcare provider. Well, gastrointestinal stuff seems to affect brains all the time. We talked about how a lot of autism can be tied to gastrointestinal issues. One of the reasons why they try to get flip-flops to people all over Africa is to cut down hookworm infections, because if your feet aren't in contact with the ground, you're not going to get hookworms. So when you see those barefoot hippies walking around, you go, okay, perhaps you might be infected with hookworms. But you know what? Maybe, just think about this. You want conspiracies? Here's a conspiracy theory for you. Okay. Perhaps the entire point of saying ivermectin was a solution or a cure or treatment for COVID was to convince a whole bunch of people in the Southeast to finally take dewormer and rid themselves of hookworm. Maybe that was the grand conspiracy. Maybe that's what the Illuminati was trying to do. It's trying to psychologically trick everyone in the Southeast to get rid of their hookworms. That's next level. I want you to think about that, conspiracy theorists, that you got tricked into ridding your intestines of hookworms. Ha! Suckers. Javi? Excellent. I should read up on that more. All right. As this Mill Johnson's chemistry professors seem like snowflakes. I mean, or they could just want to teach actual science and not be told what they can and can't teach. It's great that Houston talks about the next president like this. It means DeSantis is on the political radar and is making change for the better. Making it so that your state can't graduate med students and increasing insurance rates beyond the point people can pay in a state that gets hammered with hurricanes once a year. Those are changes for the better. Sticking them with a couple $1 billion in liabilities on the Reedy Creek Project Improvement District because he lost to Disney's lawyers does not seem like making state better. Also, he just passed a concealed carry law that was the 77% of the population was against. So you have to have permit, training, license, whatever. You can just carry guns around wherever you want. I'm sure that's going to make everyone safer and the gangs that plague inner cities in Florida are just going to just hate this. Quest, do you think 2 days or settlement before discovery? Oh, for the lawsuits. That's what you're saying. Okay. So 2 days of trading or settlement before the discovery. FINRA would be smart to settle and just go, we out. That would be the smartest thing they could possibly do. I don't know if they will do it because, remember, they're a self-regulatory agency, which means their members are the hedge funds that did the shorting. So if the members are like, no, we're going to fight this forever, then FINRA will probably say, no, we're going to fight this forever. But if there are enough whistleblowers that go to the SEC and blow those whistles, a tweet, they may just be like, well, sorry, members, you guys fudge this one. We got to be hands off and let the court system take its course. So they may back off. They got busted enough, basically just straight up lying to the judge in Florida, that the judge may just punish them that way. So they'd be smart to settle, but I don't know if they will. BOFH, well, I just discovered I can apply for a credit union account online, and the one I found has an easy way to avoid charges on my checking account, and I pass it every day, so it's a good location. I wish there was a credit union in my community. There isn't. I got to go a couple towns away to get to one, which is annoying, or hop on a ferry, which is even more annoying. Come back, Kitsap Credit Union. And BOFH just finished his application. See, look at that. Even within the first 5 minutes of the show starting. MT Houston, how, why are penises not proportional to a man's body? Some people got the genes, others do not. I don't know what other scientific basis there is behind that. I've known little guys who have just full-on hogs and monstrous men who just don't. So, I don't know. Maybe there's too much Teflon in their mom's diet when they were gestating. Beats me, man. I heard something about that. Yeah. So here you go. So basically, men who, when they were gestating and their mothers used nonstick pans, apparently have smaller wieners on average. So avoid that Teflon. There you go. Reduce testosterone levels in men. This is from a university in Italy. So I guess use those iron skillets. So 400 men agreed to let researchers measure their wieners for the study. Half men live in Italy's Veneto region, where chemical companies manufacture PFCs. It's also known to have high levels of pollutant in its waters. The other half men lived in areas without high PFC levels. The study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism looked at 2 common PFC compounds, blah, 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 blah. And the study documented PFCs have substantial impact on human male health as they directly interfere with hormonal pathways, potentially leading to male infertility. The authors wrote, we found increased levels of PFCs correlate with circulating testosterone and with reduction of semen quality, testicular volume, penile length, and AGD anogenital distance. Okay, so look out. Look out, man. Teflon lobby is making your wiener small. So Dow Chemical, explain yourself. Chakuseki, that makes a lot of sense. That's why they call him Teflon Don. Good times. Good times. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well as well, Chakuseki. That's why they call him Teflon Don. Good times. All right. Coffee, donuts, and Homer to Jim Cramer promotes Deutsche Bank. I don't know. Cramer, Deutsche Bank. Jim Cramer, Deutsche Bank is actually very profitable. That's 1 week ago. Jim Cramer, David Faber discussed Deutsche Bank drama 2 weeks ago. Jim Cramer said reports on Friday's market moving headlines, Deutsche Bank shares dragging the financial sector. Jim Cramer's top 10 things to watch in the stock market. Jim Cramer says Deutsche Bank is fine. That was March 24th. So we've got basically a week ago, 10 days ago, Jim Cramer's like, Deutsche Bank's cool. And in 2021, Jim Cramer says Deutsche Bank is a shadow of its former self. So he really can't make up his mind one way or the other. Man talks out of both sides of his mouth pretty consistently. Time for the puts? Probably. I mean, Deutsche Bank, there's rumblings that Deutsche Bank was going to get hit hard with the fixed rate loans. Spencer G. Ape crashing. Is it? What's if one app usually does the after hours better than I can find online. So Ape is crashing and AMC is going up. So this is the opposite of what it did on Monday. So AMC is up 3% after hours. They had a high of 7% after hours. And Ape is down 12.5% after hours. It was down 18% at one point. Okay. There is a negative beta between Ape and AMC right now. They're just like going away from each other, coming back toward the air. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Chris Holcomb, should I buy oil stocks now or UVIX? Not looking for financial advice, just your opinion. Well, considering that they just announced they're going to restrict oil production, which means prices are going to go up, which means oil stock value is going to go up. But the moment there's a crash, the moment the economy crashes, oil plummets like crazy. So in the near term, oil stocks will be doing great. But the minute the economy crashes, people stop going on trips. They stop getting products shipped. They stop driving. Lots of them get laid off and don't drive to work. They start conserving. They aren't taking their vacations. And oil drops every single time. So short term, oil is probably great. For when the economy collapses, oil is not so great. Not financial advice, not financial advisor. Just bodies. Spending your time walking around wondering about people's genitals and saying, like, mind your business. Yeah. Just mind your business. Houston, did the judge just deny the conversion for AMC? I have no idea. If that happened while I was, on the show, that's February 27th. It's 1 day ago. 2 days ago. Nothing. I got nothing. Maybe something on Twitter. Twitter can be up to date on these things. Search. Judge AMC Ape. 5 minutes ago. For those asking, no, the lawsuit was not dismissed. The judge denied the settlement agreement. Due process continues. Looks like she renders a just decision. See below. Anyone has complete document. Okay, this is what's happening here. So, Court of Chancery, State of Delaware. Your counsel, I right to resolve the plaintiff's unopposed motion to lift the status quo order to the parties' proposed settlement. The motion, for the reasons that follow the motion, is denied. So yeah, they're not allowing the settlement to happen. February 27th, then parties on the two actions constituting this consolidation matter stipulated to expedited proceedings and a status quo order by which the defendants agreed to not amend. AMC Entertainment Holdings Incorporated. That's the exact same thing. Give me you. Okay. Parties no good cause lift status quo order. The plaintiffs assert the status quo order must be lifted only to permit performance of the settlement agreement. which would allow the putative class members to receive the settlement consideration more quickly and remove significant uncertainty weighing on AMC. That is true in every class action or derivative settlement, yet we paused to follow rules 2320.3.1 in the absence of any demonstrated need to reorder the established and purposeful order of operations. I must conclude that harm to the putative class suffered by foregoing Rule 23's required protections of proper notice, opportunity to object, and approval exceeds the benefit of receiving the common stock sooner. The defendant's proposed premature performance under the proposed settlement is not justified, and so the parties have not shown good cause to vacate the stipulated status quo order. And while the plaintiffs acknowledge that the parties agree that the stipulated status quo order should be lifted and suggest that the proposed settlement is contingent on lifting the stipulated class order, such blah blah, can't see it. Get it so I can see. This is not the full document. There we go. All right, there's the full document. That's what we want. Show me. Show me. Show me. There it is. Okay. Okay, let's talk about finally. Okay, I want to talk about the where we left off there. Subsequent settlement was a plaintiff's expense. Who's they represent? There we go. Okay. Status to be such that agreement does not rise to good cause and view this court's Rule 23 obligations. Okay, so the quick lowdown is basically they sued because AMC needed to get permission from the shareholders to sell that much stock in their company to one single entity. They sold was more than 20% or whatever to Antera, and they needed permission from the shareholders to do that. So the lawsuit was about them basically legally selling that much stock in their company to another party. The settlement agreement basically said, oh, we're going to waive that. We're cool. Everything's fine. We're out. And the judge said no, because federal law stipulates that they weren't allowed to do that, and that this may harm other members outside of those who are part of this class action. So she is basically saying, yeah, you guys couldn't agree on this because your agreement violates Rule 23, this law we have. So that seems to be her reasoning. What is Chancery Court Rule? Court of Chancery Rule 23. Rule 23. Class actions. Okay, so requisites to class action. One or more members of the class may sue or be sued as representative parties on behalf of all, only if 1, the class is so numerous that a joinder of all members is impractical. 2, there are questions of law or fact common to the class. 3, the claims of or defenses of the representative parties are typical of the claims or defenses of the class. And 4, the representative parties will fairly and adequately protect the interest of the class. Each person to serve as representative party on behalf of a class pursuant to this rule shall file with the Register of Chancery an affidavit stating that the person has not received, been promised, or offered, and will not accept any form of compensation directly or indirectly for prosecuting or serving as a representative party in the class action in which the person or entity is named, partly except for 1, such damages or other relief the court may award such member of the class. 2, such fees, costs, payments, blah, blah, blah. 3, reimbursement paid for, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that doesn't fit there. We want 23.1 is the next part. So 23, that's C, D, E. Which 23? This must be 23. D1? They shouldn't say which one. 23.1. Let me look up, see if there's a separate 23.1. There we go. 23.1. Here we go. Derivative action brought by one or more shareholders or members to enforce the right of corporation or incorporated association. Corporation or association having failed to enforce the right which may properly be asserted by it. The complaint shall allege that the plaintiff was a shareholder or member at the time. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Each person who serves as a plaintiff, blah, blah, blah. Very similar. Statutory trust, business trust, limited trust. Where is the part that talks about action shall not be dismissed? Oh, here we go. Action shall not be dismissed or compromised without the approval of the court and the notice by mail, publication, or otherwise the proposed dismissal or compromise shall be given to shareholders, members in such manner that the court directs, except if the dismissal is to be without prejudice or with prejudice to the jury plaintiff only. Such dismissal shall be ordered without notice thereof. Okay, this is not, let's talk about dismissals. I'll talk about how it would be dismissed or how it would not be dismissed. Court approval compromise. Okay, at the time that any party moves or otherwise applies for the court approval of compromise of all party, if all or any part of a derivative action, each representative plaintiff in such action shall file with the register and chancery a further affidavit in the form required by subpart. So, subpart B of this rule. Each person seeking to serve such fees, reimbursement, the affidavit required. So is she asking that everyone file to dismiss? That like everyone who's a shareholder has to file dismiss? This is mumbo jumbo that I'm not quite picking up here. The affidavit required shall 10 days earlier after filing a motion to intervene in the action or filing a motion seeking appointment of representative party action. Affidavit provided pursuant to this subpart shall not be construed to be a waiver of attorney-client privilege. I see the argument she made and the reason why she rejected it. I just don't see the particular part of the law here where she says she can't dismiss it because it's in here. I don't see that. I may need somebody who's better at this than me to even explain it to me. So that appears to be what's happening while the show's going on. I like to do that. I like to drop news when I start my show so that I totally miss it and don't talk about it. Yeah, so the judge didn't necessarily deny the conversion for AMC. They just denied the settlement because I think her argument is that the settlement goes against the rule because it appears that investors are harmed. Like she's saying investors appear to be harmed here, that they sold too many shares to one entity and that can't be just swept under the rug because it's reached her attention now. That seems to be it. Coffee Donuts and Homer. I really enjoyed DeSantis finding about unintended consequences. There are two great books to read about unintended consequences. One is Blowback. It's called Blowback. It's about CIA blowback, about CIA doing missions in one place and then causing a chain reaction and then blows back on them. 9/11, for example, supporting the jihadists in Afghanistan resulted in 20 years of war by the United States. There's another great book called When Things Bite Back, and I think I may have given that one away. That book's also about 20 years old, and it's about like, you know, we do all the time. We like, oh, we need to shore up railroad berms. You know, they make these big gravel berms and put the rail lines on it to make it nice and flat and go over countryside. So we shore it up with Scotch broom, and the Scotch broom takes over as a weed. Or we tried to protect football players by making them wear pads and helmets so injuries would go down. But because the pads and helmets lead to head-on-head collisions and leading with the head, it's resulted in more deaths than back in the leather helmet day. So there's it's a pretty good book. There's another one kind of falls under there called Two Engineers Human, which talks about that a lot too. I recommend learning about like the consequences of your actions is always good to think about. Game theory that sucker out. Figure out if I do this, the action and reaction is going to be these two things. So you can try to, hedge your bets, if you will, and calculate your risk. So I think Ron probably needs to do that a little bit more. Coffee Notes, any comments or rants about the Israeli police attacking Alaska during Ramadan? Videos look terrible. Yeah, I saw some of those. Rosa posted some of them. They did this. Was it last year? They did it. One of the mosques got set on fire in East Jerusalem. Yeah, I don't understand why they poke the bear like this. I just don't get it. I know talking about Israeli-Palestine conflict will open up a can of worms. But here's my feeling. I'm going to use a little comparative history here. Everyone in the Balkans fucking hates each other. Serbians hate the Bosnians, hate the Kosovans, hate the Croatians hate the Bosnians. Like, they just hate each other. You go to a town in the Balkans, and they'll be like, "Hey, you know those guys over in the next town? They're a bunch of go fuckers." That's what they say. Everyone just hates each other. But when they got united under Yugoslavia, they got along because all those people who hate each other hated Tito even more. So I'm wondering if the solution is make one nation out of them all and have just the worst person you could possibly imagine as a ruler, and so that they just unite in their hatred of that one person. And then, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and things get better. I think the construction settlements need to go away. They need to stop. They need to end. And recall those people from those settlements. The ghettos that are built, walls that are built, they're dehumanizing. The fact that one of the first things that Ariel Sharon and Netanyahu did when their party seized power was they helped Hamas destroy the PLO, which had become the legitimate government of Palestine, removed a moderating option. And they literally got murdered. Like, everyone in the PLO just got wiped out by Hamas. So there is no alternative to Hamas anymore. And that allowed the security apparatus of Israel to be like, "Oh, see, everything's Hamas now," and they built up. There's a total agreement among them. Like, hell, we'll help you wipe out the PLO. You'll become in power, and then we'll just hate each other's guts even more. And high five. It's yeah. And you go back historically. There were Jewish people living in Palestine prior to Israel forming, modern Israel. The people who are Palestinian, they were Christian, they were Muslim, they were Jewish. The Sephardic Jews were there. They're the same, ethnically, genealogically, they're the same people. It's just that over the course of 2,000 years of various empires controlling the region, a lot of them converted from what had been Judaism to other religions of the era. Even during the time of Israel being Israel, there were Mithrix, there were Roman pagans, there are all sorts of other religions that have always been in that region. I don't know. How much fighting over a patch of dirt is just silly to me. And bringing it into houses of worship and basically torturing people during their holy month is just a weird way to do it. Just don't even. I don't know. It pisses me off. It's wrong. Just be better. Benjamin Netanyahu is, he's trying to distract from the fact that the entire country is erupting in violence and protests, because he's trying to basically eliminate the power of the courts because they found him guilty and want to charge him with lots of crimes. This is the acts that authoritarians do. So my guess is that this action happening in the mosque right now is entirely to distract everybody from the fact that there's 4 million protesters calling for his head right now, due to him trying to change the courts and shit canning the Minister of Defense, who wasn't going to do anything about those that are reservists who aren't reporting to duty out of protest for Netanyahu's action in the courts. It looks to me like democracy is slipping away in a hurry in Israel, and Netanyahu, with a country like that, you don't last long as a leader. Breathing, if that's going to be the moves you make, especially when you got a country that assassinated Yitzhak Rabin simply because he sought peace. Hey, we reached a peace deal. Thank you so much. And someone was like, "Fuck you." There's a lot of anger brewing right now. It's not going to be healthy. Not going to be healthy at all. Blink, isn't Schwab's brokerage supposed to be insulated from its bank? I mean, they can say things like that. Doesn't mean it is. You got me. Lots of things are supposed to be insulated. They aren't necessarily insulated. Remember when the market maker and the hedge fund of Madoff were supposed to be insulated from each other? They weren't. Citadel and Citadel Securities supposed to be insulated from each other? I don't think they are. I have a feeling there's a bleed over across all aspects. Every single one of these giant institutions, they have their little tentacles on both sides all the time. Well, it's crashing. Well, it is super late for you, man. What are you even doing up? You're in the wrong time zone to be up for this right now. Catch you tomorrow. Okay, buddy. SB, Houston, are you familiar with the GNS NFT coupon dividend scheduled for June? Think it could lead to anything exciting? I am familiar with it, but I thought they're going to try to do a lot sooner than that. June seems a really, really long ways away. Didn't they already do the data record for the GNS one? Or did they postpone that? I thought they did the data record already. If anyone can correct me on that, please do. Well, I gotta check and see if PPP Show has sent me a link yet, so I know what time they want me. Okay. Okay, hit your DM here when ready. It's through something called Restream, easy, user-friendly, no account needed. Word. Okay, so it's in 1 hour. With my live show, and we'll be ready to go 15 minutes after that. Okay. Okay. Getting that set up, and send me a link for the show so I can tweet it out. Okay. The PP Show in like an hour and a half. All right, cool. Okay. Nathan Scott, ape on the downturn, buying an opportunity to trap. Millie McWoolhead, would Katie Porter potentially be in a hearing? Forget which committee she's in. I think she's in the finance committee still. I don't think they managed to kick her out. Katie Porter committees. Oops. Come on. Katie Porter committees. Shabam. Committees. All right. Committee of Natural Resources. Committee Oversight and Reform. Joint Economic Committee. So she's on the Joint Economic Committee. So she's not on the Finance Committee anymore. Interesting. So she did get kicked off of that. So Joint Economic Committee might be one. And okay, interesting. So yeah, she's not on the Finance Committee anymore. She must have been kicked off of that by Kevin what's his butt. Bummer. Quest, if MMTLP reopened, trading should be infinite squeeze. It should. That's where it should have gone. Should have gone infinite squeeze, my friend. Should have just... And all of us should be on a beach in a cot, enjoying our best lives. That's where it should be. Buckeye Ace, this is amazing. Is this live? Of course this is live, buddy. We're live all the time. I'm just always 40 minutes behind in the chat. Okay. Joseph Leo, do you think MMT will get their 2 days of trading back or settlement to avoid discovery? That's a good point. Like if they really, 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 really want to avoid having to face discovery, and this is if the judge is like, you know what, you guys don't actually have immunity from this, they may reach out and try and settle. And I do wonder if their settlement offer might not be perhaps like allow trading, but might be like, hey, Rosa, how much money would it cost for you to shut up? I'd be interested to see if they offer Rosa a cash settlement for some reason so they don't have to provide discovery and the lawsuit doesn't go forward. At that point, then each one of us, if they're offering Rosa a pile of cash as a settlement, which, she's not asking for money, she just wants them to change their behavior, then we should all just copy her documents and file our own in every federal court across the country and get ourselves a nice fat cash settlement. Right? Like, cool. Bankrupt them that way. Just Bodies. Tetris porn got me bricked up. Oh, so bad. Okay. A Alamo, Houston, any insight on BBBY? Nothing new beyond the potential buyers being Carl Icahn's group shoring up $1.5 billion ready to spend on something. That's all I got. I'm sure when I go on the PP show, they're going to talk more about it because it seems like they're BBBY guys. I'm sure they'll learn me something when I go on the show with them this evening. Meow meow. Have seen all the Acme hater shills posting negative stuff on Reddit. It's kind of funny to see so many posts from these guys. Desperation. Yes. That's exactly what it is. Desperation. They know that they're screwed in the long run. And I mean they're doing it on Twitter too. They're on my timeline right now. Being a bunch of little bitches on Twitter. Okay. Ron Rose, trading account should be okay. Using TD Ameritrade, about to cross over to Schwab. My shares should be fine. Your shares will be fine. Like if your brokerage goes under, another brokerage just comes along and assumes the assets for pennies on the dollar, and then you just become their client. So I wouldn't worry like, oh, Schwab collapsed. I don't have anything in my account anymore. You're insured. You're federally insured for that stuff. You're personally insured for that stuff. You'll just become a client of another company. Cabo, wasn't there a hearing for the GME Robinhood mess and nothing came out of it? There were several hearings, and basically what came out of it was that was messed up, and then nothing. There's still the giant lawsuit against Robinhood. I think that's still ongoing. I'm not sure when that's going to get resolved, but the emails and the text messages that come out of that are very damning towards Robinhood, Citadel, and everyone involved. Okay. Jim Oneltrons? One Irons? I can't see what that says. One Irons? Jim One Irons. Is there a story behind it's the story behind who had the rights to Tetris. If that movie is even partially true, it's wild. Oh, I know. It's like a documentary, or is it live action? I've never heard of Tetris movie, but I'll check it out once I get, what's the other one? The Pick of Destiny. Justin G, another plus to CUs is a lot of them are credit unions. A lot of them are part of a shared branch program where you can access your account from different credit unions. My credit union is based in Illinois, and I use several different in San Diego or South Dakota. SD, whichever. San Diego, South Dakota, not sure. Dustin Wright watched a basement scientist make a small amount of graphene to test its strength. It was pretty mind-blowing. Well, that's cool. I heard it's a really hard process to do, so a basement scientist can do it. That impresses me. Jason Blackwell. Hey, Houston, tell Scott he has 36 hours to move his shit out of the garage or he'll get memed again on Friday. Fair warning. Hey, Scott. Jason Blackwell is threatening to meme you again if you don't get your shit out of the garage. It's fair enough. Maybe he's watching right. Are you watching right now, Scott? Miss Missy, if blocks don't fit, that's when you quit. Martin Smith, TD and Schwab have been in the same company for at least 5 years that I know of. For a fact, I wonder if that's why they're acting like it's something new. I don't know, man. I don't know. I got a hangnail. It is bothering me. That sucker needs to go away. Just die. Okay. Peace Tech. Any thoughts on supplements and their effectiveness? My partner is anemic and taking fermented iron desiccated beef liver pills, but I feel like they might just be snake oil. I mean, if you're anemic, you do need iron in your diet. A lot of supplements are not set up in a way that the body can absorb the minerals and vitamins that are in those supplements. So they just kind of pass right through you. I would look at the type of iron that a doctor would recommend someone take. And I would look at iron-rich foods, broccoli, meats, things like that, to try and pump up the amount of iron in your diet. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I've just read a lot about a lot of supplements just not being effective because they need certain ingredients that will allow them to become soluble and enter your bloodstream and help. But a lot of supplements just have like these like raw minerals in them, and you swallow it and it just passes right through your system and never gets dissolved, never gets brought into your bloodstream. So I'd look into that. I don't know. Best. All right. Iron prescribed for anemics. Ferrous sulfate is an iron supplement you may use to treat iron deficiency anemia. You may need ferrous sulfate if you don't get enough iron through the foods you eat. Ferrous sulfate comes in tablet or liquid form. Side effects may include constipation, stomach cramps, and other digestive issues. So that's from the Cleveland Clinic. So you want ferrous sulfate, so iron sulfate, pyrite, basically. Cool. There you go. That's what they recommend. This is Cleveland Clinic. So if the supplements are ferrous sulfate, that may help them out. If it's not, issues absorbing iron. Some health conditions, medications can decrease your body's ability to absorb iron. These may include rare genetic disorders, block your intestines from absorbing iron, endurance sports that cause athletes to lose iron through their gastrointestinal tracts, certain digestive conditions such as ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, intensive intestine and stomach surgeries, including weight loss surgery, conditions that can destroy too many blood cells, certain infections, autoimmune disorders, or inherited blood cell disorders. So those can be reasons why you're not absorbing the iron. Lean meat and poultry, seafood, white beans, kidney beans, lentils, nuts, dried fruits, leafy green vegetables such as spinach, fortified bread, and breakfast cereals. Okay, so there's also some solutions for you. Your body can absorb iron from plants, foods better while you eat it with meat. Poultry, seafoods, or foods are high in vitamin C. So you want iron with your vitamin C. Foods that contain a lot of vitamin C include fruits and vegetables such as oranges, strawberries, tomatoes, broccoli. So mix those foods together, and that should help also. Okay. Okay, so the more elemental iron it contains, your body absorb more. All right. So, cool. All right. So see if it's ferrous sulfate. This is Mel Johnson. For next trick, I'll get residents of the Pacific Northwest to stop shooting up. I mean, Mr. Smith Johnson, are you in Florida? I wonder what opioid overdoses per county. Okay. What's our most recent year? 2020? Okay, show me per county here. That's not per county. That's statewide. And Florida is just as high as Washington. Washington, 22.0. Florida, 35. So Florida actually is higher than Washington. It's about 50% higher. So opioid deaths in Florida are 50% higher than they are. Overdose deaths are 50% higher in Florida than they are in Washington. All through the South, almost everywhere except Georgia has a higher rate than Washington. Louisiana, 42. Oh, you guys can't see. Sorry, here we go. So 22 in Washington, 35 in Florida. So it's 50%, more than 50% higher in Florida. But the rates, 21, 26. Nevada's pretty high. Arizona's really high. New Mexico's really high. The whole 21 to 82 is a really high rate there. They should really make add another color or shade in here. Because 30 in North Carolina, 45 in Tennessee, 49 in Kentucky, 81.4 in Virginia, the highest. Ohio, 47, 36 Indiana, 28 Illinois, 27, 28, 42 in Pennsylvania. That's really high. New York, 25. So, yeah. So on the low end is Washington out of all the green ones. Florida, 35. South Carolina, 34. So, yeah. There's people using opioids, but they're at higher rates in Florida. Hannibal Grimm. Hold up. I saw this movie once. They found out about the Stargate worm dudes and ivermectin. Esmond Johnson, stand your ground, save George Zimmerman's life. George Zimmerman started the fight, dude. Stand your ground is the dumbest law in the entire world. Remember when that lady, her abusive ex-husband was attacking her, and he got him to stop. She fired the gun into the air, and they arrested her for illegal discharge of a firearm. When she tried to argue stand your ground, they basically said, no, you have to actually shoot the man and kill him to qualify for stand your ground. You can't warn them. That's the dumbest law in the entire world. Murder, death rate from guns in Florida are higher as a result of stand your ground. It allows people to pick fights and then end those fights with a gun and then be like, well, I was fearing for my life. Well, you started the fight, dumbass. Quit starting fights and you wouldn't have to fear for your life. Or if you're going to start a fight, try to win it. Because if you get your ass kicked and you got to like whip out your gun, then all of a sudden, it's no longer mutual combat at that point. Stand your ground's a dumbass law for dumbass people. Millie McWoolhead, they'll still police the shit out of any black people who are carrying. Yeah, that's true. They will. Gun laws never apply to black people. They will always, I got a gun, and then use that as an excuse to shoot you. And McWoolhead, George Zimmerman is a piece of trash. George Zimmerman is a piece of trash. Have you noticed that since he got arrested, he's also been arrested for like threatening to kill people, shooting at people in traffic, other things? Like, it seems like he's just not a good dude to begin with. Smile always. Explosion, explosion, explosion. Eye roll. NASDAQ reported that someone bought a put block of $349,000 for GME yesterday with a strike of $25 expiring tomorrow, April 6th. What do you guys think? That's a really high price to pay for a put block at $25. That seems very expensive. Then why would it expire tomorrow on a Thursday? That's very weird. Expire on a Thursday? I don't know, Smile Always. I have no idea why there'd be put blocks expiring on a Thursday and not a Friday. Wait, is there no trading on Friday? Because it's Easter. That's right. Which days are we closed? New York Stock Exchange trading, New Year's, Martin Luther King, Good Friday, Memorial Day. Good Friday, April. Yep. No trading on April 7th. So, that's why tomorrow. Duh. Easter. Ah, a cat. Get in the way. Coming to visit? Come on. Come on. Come on down. Everyone wants to see you anyway. At least see your little butthole in the camera. There it is. There it is. All right. Yes, look at it. There it's peeking. There it is for everyone. Woo, kitty butts. Everyone's favorite. Okay. Just get that little target blaster just aimed right at the camera. Just right there. Focus on it. I think it's interesting that someone would buy a put block that large for tomorrow at $25. What could possibly be going on? I don't know, Smile Always. I don't know. Black Death, do you have anything that you could understand what's going on? Flip 32, we have a credit union going digital here in North Carolina. I believe North Carolina will be a digital hub for the East Coast. We have a lot going on over here with EV and crypto. We are the second or third largest banking. Missed the rest of Flip. Flip, get it out. Flip, get it out. Did you get it? Oh, there's a reset. So now I missed where Flip is. Flip, snowboard, Hannibal, peace attack, supplements. Okay, I need to go further. There it is. Okay. Flip, did you continue your thought? I don't see it. But isn't Bank of America based in North Carolina now? Aren't they based in Charlotte? I thought they had moved to Charlotte after they did the giant merger and left San Francisco or whatever. Miss Missy, did you see the news about the ocean found under the crust of the earth? More water than all above. You were the first person I thought of who would have a lesson about this. There is a lot of water trapped in Earth. We've known about it for a long time, so it's not like a new discovery. We know that there's just a absolute ton of water trapped inside, deep in the Earth's crust. And we know it's been a lot. There were estimations that it could be more than the water in the oceans. I'd be very curious to see if we could drill down far enough to even access that water. And if we did access that water and pump it out, what's that do for the structure around, for the geologic structure? I don't know, because we know pumping lots of water out of regions can cause it to collapse from like accessible surface water, and that deep water's got to be really, really under a lot of pressure and very hot. Well above boiling temperature, but because under pressure it can't boil. So if you do try to drill it out of there, one hell of a geyser would result. I'm curious about that. Eric Anthill, Houston is brainwashed. I am the poster child of someone who's brainwashed. There, Eric Anthill. Absolutely, thoroughly brainwashed. That I just bring receipts. That's all brainwashed people do, is that they bring the data to show exactly what it is they're talking about. That's just the worst way to be brainwashed, is, you know, being technically correct is the best kind of correct, right? Moon, odds of MMTLP could ignite MOAS. If they let it run, it would have ignited it. If they had not done the U3 halt and they'd followed through with what they claim they're going to be forced closing positions, then yeah, it would have MOAS'd like nobody's business. That's why, you know, it's calling it the litmus test. Like, if they let this thing run, then they're going to have to let everything else run along with it. And the fact that they didn't let it run, well, that's showing that they're not willing to let infinite risk be assumed. Be assumed? That's the word I want to use. Be realized? Need a thesaurus. Okay. Sheep Ducking Cow U. Check out Reign of Terror by Spencer Ackerman. Fantastic read. That on the list. Reign of Terror. Reign of Terror on the list. Reign of Terror. Stuart Ackerman? Spencer Ackerman. Okay. On the list, baby. Whisker Biscuit, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this bra. Theorems AMC, what's up, PP Show? Are you going to go on PP Show Houston? Yes, I'm going on PP Show in about an hour-ish, hour and a half. They have not responded back yet, but they'll send me the link soon. I'll be done here in about 40 minutes and give myself a little break, eat a little food, and I'll jump on with them. Probably a real burpee when I do jump on with them, so I'll just eat a whole bunch of food, just wolfed it down. So, PPP Show, you're going to get burpee, Houston. Nathan Scott just moved to Sultan, Washington for a few months, went to Monroe and pulled through a coffee place and didn't realize later to be topless. Big surprise, but expensive. Yeah. Topless or what they call them, bikini barista stands are very popular here. They're everywhere. And some of them are bikini baristas and others aren't. And you just don't know which one. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't really go through them. Although I was shocked once. I was with a friend. He was like, "I'm grabbing some coffee," and we were on a little mini road trip. He pulled over, and we didn't realize, and all of a sudden we're like face to face with like just 2 stickers. Yeah, it's a weird phenomenon. I wouldn't want to make boiling hot coffee naked, but I'm sure these girls just pull the money in like nobody's business. There was a weird kid in my class, like one of those socially awkward, weird kids that kind of gives you the heebie-jeebie willies, and I just avoided him. He just like, ugh. I didn't want to spend any time being near him, being around him. And he opened up a bunch of bikini barista stands in our county. And there was talk about trying to, do some zoning regulations, some rules about having bikini baristas around and whatnot. And so he ran for office because it's a very Democratic area. He ran for office as a Democrat to try and become a county commissioner to like protect his bikini barista empire, and lost horribly. And so then he became a Republican to try and he's run like 5 times for county commissioner, and for a time ran the Republican Party in our county, all in an attempt to keep his bikini barista empire going. And the dude's as creepy as ever, 20 something years later. And yeah, it's your business model. I totally get it. People like seeing boobs, and those girls can get like $100 tips. And there's also been problems with like prostitution associated with those places and organized crime. But yeah, moving to Washington, and never been here before. We don't have strip clubs. Our strip clubs are terrible because they can't serve alcohol and you can't get lap dances and other things. So the strip clubs are just kind of sad that ones exist. And so they moved into like bikini barista land because getting a $20 coffee and paying a $100 tip is what they do instead. It's very weird. MS Houston, El Salvador has been paying off huge bonds with crypto. Thoughts? El Salvador has a problem because they took out those huge bonds in dollars to buy crypto. And the bonds were at like 12% interest. And they bought crypto when crypto was like $60,000. So they lost a lot of their money. And now those bonds are coming due. So they're paying off bonds with money they borrowed that's worth less than it was when they borrowed it. And I don't know how much longer they'll keep that up. There's a huge bond crisis about to hit El Salvador. El Salvador bond crisis. Okay. El Salvador says repay $800 million in bonds maturing. This is July. Okay. Foreign policy. So, El Salvador scramble for a bailout. With top officials beset by U.S. sanctions, the country's IMF negotiations are bound to get complicated. All right. Oh my goodness. Your president is backwards cap wearing. Oh my God. Okay. Consequential sanction. I'm not talking about sanction. I'll talk about the fact that they borrowed. Do submit $800 million bond payment lenders January 2023. So they did that. It lacks the funds to make the payment. So where do they get the funds from? AMS trying to obtain a $1.3 billion loan. So basically, it looks like they borrowed money to pay off the money. So now they're in their own debt spiral. Okay. So they did get the payment off. That's up here. El Salvador says this is January. They paid off $800 million bond maturing. Let's think about the rest of them. Which filed earlier transaction. Presidency office for Rose transaction. $604 million in interest, $23 million. El Salvador is meeting its debt obligations. But they've taken out a lot of loans to buy crypto. El Salvador borrows money to buy crypto. El Salvador uses Bitcoin-backed microloans. That's what I'm talking about. El Salvador buys to buy back bonds because bad Bitcoin. Okay. Let's buy back $1.6 billion sovereign debt after Bitcoin investments have lost the country money. Yeah. That's kind of the problem I think that they're in, is that they borrowed like 12%, bought Bitcoin at $50,000 and $60,000, and then Bitcoin's worth $27,000, $28,000. And they're going to have to like take what they had as investment and pay that off, and then they're going to owe more later. There's NPR talking about it. So, I'll quit trying to make me sign up for things. I think the Bitcoin is by a lot of little store, she said. Okay. Give me the borrowing. Okay, so they borrowed to make a $500 million Bitcoin city, and then the other $500 million to buy more Bitcoin. That's not what you want to do. And this is right before Bitcoin crashed again, March 3rd, 2022. Oops. Yeah. Well, I mean, the pay off their loans, cool, but I don't think they'll have much left when they do pay off their loans. Wildcard Central, what are your thoughts on Texas A&M University? Agriculture and mining. I don't know enough about them. They seem fine. They seem like an excellent academic school. They got decent football and basketball. So that's where we're looking to go. Go for it, my man. I saw friends who went to school in Texas. It's just that if you're going to school in Texas, you're just in Texas. And that's Texas. If you want to be in Texas, I chose my schools based on geography. I thought about, where do I want to be? What land do I want to be surrounded by? Do I want to be surrounded by oceans and mountains and lush forests? Or do I want to be surrounded by just a flat, desolate plain and strip malls? And I chose the geography over any of the scholastic pursuits. Geography is much more important. Fee rhymes with AMC. Cooking in cast iron supposedly helps. Sauteed spinach in cast iron helps big. All right. And Millie McWoolhead, IV iron is more efficient absorption than pills, but docs require pills first. Okay. George777. Hi, Houston. Hi. On the scale of 1 to 10, what are the chances of MMT resuming trading for missing 2 days? 7? I think it's greater than 50% chance. The FINRA's fumbled the ball enough that the judge will be a stickler, and he's gonna be like, "Look, you guys lied in your filings to me," and he's gonna make them pay somehow. And that mean pay like financially. I mean pay in action. Like you're gonna have to provide discovery. You're gonna have to provide documents. You're going to have to make these 2 days of trading happen. They're gonna do something that's gonna make them regret everything. Be my guess. Kevin Randon's here. Glad to be catching you live for change. Hope you're well. I am very well, Kevin. Mimic Woolhead. Do IV infusions at Vinifer. Inject after a couple. You can ask doctor about it. Oh, okay. More advice about iron. Green-eyed banded elixir. Green-eyed banded elixir. Just to piggyback from an earlier comment, my coworker who doesn't care for meme stocks or stocks in general casually mentioned that Schwab told him they were combining with TDA a couple years ago. Okay, so it has been in the works for a while. SS Miller Johnson, Florida's unique because it doesn't have NIMBY laws related to treatment facilities the way Washington does. Snowboard 1201, Houston. What would it take to get ignorant, hateful, selfish people to use that energy productively? 100, $200 YOLO at BPY shares calls for watch. Man. I don't know what it takes people to use energy productively. I have a stalker who has just an immense amount of energy to do nothing all day long except follow me doing everything. He's probably watching right now going, or going, one or the other. I don't know. I don't think my calls are going to pay off in time for the 21st. I do think something weird's going to happen with BBBY, and with the fact that the shares are like hovering at 30-ish cents, call options are so cheap that I might buy a hell of a lot of lotto tickets. Like, I don't know if they'll be for a few months away or a year away, but getting hundreds of call options that are near in the money, it can be bought pretty cheap right now. And if the stock price does anything, if Carl Icahn's like, I'm buying the company, and the stock price just fires to $30 a share, then you'd be a millionaire off of that, off those lotto tickets. Might be a calculated risk for me. If you buy it in shares, the shares can go up and be worth quite a bit as well. But the risk is higher with call options because you can lose all the money you put into them. But the payoff can be bigger too. It can be probably 10 to 100 times bigger. So I might gamble with some deeper, near, just out of the money calls, because you can get them for 2 cents now, and that is really tempting. It's very tempting. Roll that die. Kevin Rain in Houston. Do you think the media doctored the Trump courtroom photo? He looks oranger and yellower than usual. Think they did him dirty to look like the Joker, like Time Magazine to OJ mugshot. I mean, he does. I think he's more orange now than he was when he was president because he's got more time to get spray tanned. So I think his orange shade is higher than it was during his presidency. Plus, he got to go back to New York. Probably got to go to his favorite spray tan person that he hasn't been able to see in a while. So, yeah, I've never been spray tan myself. I'm sure that getting a coat of paint works well for some people. I'm not really sure exactly what it takes up, and I have no idea what kind of NDA you'd have to sign if you were going to be Donald Trump's spray tan person. I'm sure it's a doozy. And I'm sure, like, if I'm a spray tan technician, I'm not sure what other term to call them, and Donald Trump comes in, he's like, I need you to spray tan me. You're like, okay, that's, $49.95 or whatever. but I need you to sign this NDA. I'd be like, now it's $49,000. Because I want to be able to say, I'm the one who spray tans Donald Trump, and you're keeping me from saying that. So you're going to have to pay me to keep my mouth shut. So I'm hoping that the spray tan person makes just a healthy living off of giving him a coat every couple of months. Firearms AMC, I thought you had to warn them before shooting them. Like if someone is breaking, say, better leave or I'll shoot you. I don't think the stand your ground law is that complicated. I think you can just shoot somebody and claim that they're attacking you. And everyone in Florida goes, cool, good for me. Which can allow for, in a lot of instances, for premeditated murder to occur. And it seems like it has. That a lot of people have just been dying from this, and then were actually, in fact, murdered. It's always just... I scroll like one little scroll and just shoots right to the bottom, and I gotta find my position again. Okay. There's Green Day Bandit. There's Kevin Rannon. There is... Whisper. Love watching you shut down SS Tiny Johnson effortlessly. Thinking secretly into BDSM. Some people have a little humiliation kink. And I guess I'm unwitting participant in that kink. RMZ, tomorrow is the last day of this week. Friday is Good Friday. Yeah. Okay. Houston needs some cat butt magnets. Oh, those little things that stick over the tail and like put a little jewel. That English. Yo, how's it going? Are you enjoying Hawaii? You're in Hawaii, right? At KCC? Richard K., what will exposing MMTLP blue sheets motivate Rosa's judge to make a ruling soon? Oh, will the exposing. I think it would prove her allegations right, that they didn't close these shares. They knew that there was these short shares out there, and that as a result, she's injured because now she can't be guaranteed her shares, and neither can any other investor be guaranteed that they're going to get all their shares. The share is a dividend, and short sellers are required to provide that dividend. So if they sell you a share, and then a dividend comes along, such as a paper share in a company called NextBridge, and they have not provided that paper share to you, you have been injured, and they have violated the terms of the FINRA rules, where they're required to provide that dividend. So, the judge should look at that and be like, "Oh yeah, you guys failed in your ability. You cannot have this stock short if you cannot provide the dividend that's required," and they cannot. So, rule in her favor. Just do it already. Black Udon better have a washed brain than a filthy funk smelling unwashed brain. Yes, I'm brainwashed. Will McWoolhead, pretty sure Stand Your Ground is around so white people could deputize themselves and kill black people. That seems to be what it's used for. MS Houston, wait, whose show are you going on? I'm going on the PP show. Hopefully I'll have a link from them here soon. Okay, they said they will send me the link. Okay, they haven't sent me the link yet. I'll tweet it out or post it on the Reddit and get it out there so you guys can see the PP. You guys can watch the little PP show. AJ American Mon. Hey Houston, happy birthday. Change the subject. What do you know about the theory of the lost continent of Mu? Thank you in advance. Is this the one that's out off of New Zealand? Mythical lost continent. Okay, this is a different one. So this is, I don't know if this one in particular. I also want to claim that there's a massive continent in the Pacific Ocean. Well, there is a giant subcontinent in the Pacific Ocean. So this here has the continent as this giant thing in the Pacific. There is evidence of a proto-continent, basically a craton that's formed in the oceanic rock. We can Google Earth that sucker. Google Earth. Turn on. There we go. All right. Let's get away from California I was looking at earlier. Okay. So there's a couple of them. There's a massif off of like Tonga down here. And then there's another one here that is a raised island group sort of southwest of Hawaii. And I think these are the two that are closest to being continents out of everything that's in the ocean. There's another little raised group here northwest of the Hawaiian Islands. But it's not quite, it's not quite on the scale of like a landmass like Australia. Or you can see like obvious continental shelf here that's built around New Zealand from the area where New Zealand split from Australia. And if you do the mapping of the oceans, it's all basalt, really. It's basalt, which are not continental rocks. So there's nothing here that could be a lost continent of Mu. So, other than these like oceanic island chains, that's about it. And then the same thing, like you look at the Atlantic, closest thing you got is the Azores here, which, there's some raised areas, little island protocontinents forming off of either side of the splitting ridge there. And then in the Mediterranean, which is where people most likely think places like Atlantis would be, you do have a decent sized continental shelf coming off of Africa. And these areas do have cities that have been reclaimed by the ocean. You go to Alexandria, there's entire buildings and cities you can go scuba dive and see what used to be there. Also, until about 6 million years ago, Gibraltar was closed. This was a landmass that was connected, and this whole inland sea dried out and became a giant salt flat. And only when Gibraltar split, the Straits of Gibraltar split, did this thing flood with ocean water and wipe out probably proto-peoples, animals, forests, all sorts of things in here. So right now, the prevailing thought is if there was an Atlantis, it was probably an oceanic island in the Aegean that was a Greek island. Some people think Sardinia. Not Sardinia, sorry. Yeah, oceanic islands like this. This is a volcano here. This is a volcano that exploded. It blew up, destroyed everything. And there's lots of these in the Aegean. There's one there. There's nothing in the Pacific for Mu. GME machine, what's up with PXMD? 65 short interest and 400%, 50% cost to borrow. Why not moving? I don't know anything about PXMD. I know nothing. PXMD. Seems flat. Turn off Chrome. There we go. Seems flat. Seems pretty flat. I mean, it's been as high as $5 as of a year ago or 6 months ago. Had its heyday. Nope. I mean, it's only existed since August. So its heyday was its release. And then it's been as low as $1.45, $1.40, and right now it's $1.95. I don't know, man. PMXD, short interest. I don't know what they do. What's Fintel say? Fintel says short interest is 43.69% of the float. That's pretty high. What do you do, PXMD? Pax Medica. What do you make? What do you do? I don't know. medical stuff. Provides business update reports, fourth quarter financials, blah, blah, blah. Scientific advisory board, medical shareholder letter. What do you do? Pax Medica. Here we go. Clinical stage. There's special going to approve pharmaceutical treatments for autism spectrum disorder. Pax Medica is on the promising path to change that. Hope to bring millions. Okay. But then we would do that. You just do a fecal transplant, and it cures them. So I don't know, man. Cool. Doesn't look like they quite have a product yet. They must have sold to make a product, but could be a squeeze play if the right investor gets in there. DK, any news on Sears? None. Nothing since Eddie Lampert said he's not going to pursue any more lawsuits. Was that weird kid who opened Bikini Barista stores homeschooled? He was not. He actually was in our school, in our classes. It's just the weirdest dude, absolute weirdest dude. Sometimes regular school makes weirdos. We've all seen those. Okay. Where? Okay. Okay. If you're AMC, so the judge ruled AMC settlement can't go through. Is that why Ape went down, AMC up? Yes. She said the terms of the settlement basically weren't legal because in bringing up the settlement or bringing up the lawsuit, it appears as though AMC perhaps did violate rules that were designed to protect investors. So I'm not sure how they have to renegotiate a settlement like that. The lawyers are going to have to get creative. Julian, as bad as that spray tan is, I would pay him to not tell anyone I did it. Can you imagine, though, if like you got to advertise, I am the person who spray tanned Donald Trump, and how many people would go just to be turned orange by you? I think it'd be an incredible number. It's you'd have a lot of orange weirdos all of a sudden walking around. Fiorum's AMC, they have magnets to stick on the fridge or whatever that show cat butts. They're also crocheted cat butt coasters. Kitty, would you like one? Yeah? Is that what interests you? All right. Cat English, yeah, teaching has been an awesome experience. I have some fish wears and mattress ideas. What are the other t-shirt ideas? The one fish wears a mattress we have. I got the page up here. I got to go to Whop. Is the one that Jorge made for us. I got a sweatshirt. Little girl yelling, "Fish wears a mattress" on the back, and the front says in Japanese, "What does your fish wear?" I think it's pretty funny. And the t-shirt, same thing. What does your fish wear on the front? And my fish wears a mattress. Come on, scroll. My fish wears a mattress on the back. And then I also made a hat that just says my fish wears a mattress in Japanese. It says, my fish wears a mattress. Or it might say something about vinegar as well. I'm not sure. Who cares? It's gibberish. And that's all we want. We want straight up gibberish so that people who actually speak Japanese read it go, what's the deal, man? All right. Looks like Minnow Johnson here got put in timeout, maybe? I'd like to see what bullshit he's throwing at me. The kink one seemed to have hit him really hard. Yep. Jimmy Machine Houston, can you give me a 100% unbiased opinion on what you see happening with AMC now and in the future? Who wins between retail investors or shorts? Right now, shorts have the upper hand on AMC. They control a huge portion of the shares of the ape shares, 30% of the entire company, right there, and Terra alone. And the likelihood that if the reverse split goes through and the recombination happens, and then there's a sale of shares, I would put money that those shares get sold directly to shorts, those two hedge funds, and not to retail as it should be. And the majority stake in the company. And with that majority stake, they might pay off the loans or whatever that they have, but what's going to happen is that frees up a whole bunch more borrowing power. They can take on billions and billions and billions of more debt, and then they can destroy the company from within, sell all their shares, short it down, and have a heyday and make billions off of it. The key is you have to remove every single solitary, sketchy insider from the company. You gotta go piece by piece, remove executive VPs, board members, heads of logistics, upper managers. You have to get rid of anyone who could be associated with one of these hedge funds, and you have to surgically do it. And that seems to be what Ryan Cohen did at GME, was that they just got rid of all the short people, all the short hedge fund folks, and removed all of them. They told Boston Consulting Group to go suck an egg. We're not paying you to help us destroy our company. That's how you have to treat it. And AMC has not done that. They've got people in their company who've worked for companies that have been destroyed. The marketing dude that was at Radio Shack, Blockbuster, Washington Mutual, and then AMC. That's a terrible record. If done right, it can be a short killer. I just don't have the faith that it will be done right. And the lawsuit right now, it seems like the injured parties, the ones that sued, made such a good case that even the judge is like, whoa, can't back out of this one now. Your case is too good, and we'll let them settle. So I don't know what happens, how AMC rectifies, hey, we sold Antera these 232 million shares, 300 million shares. I don't know how they fix that, because Antera has the shares, AMC has the money, they paid off the debt. What do they do now? What is the rectification of that? Does it mean they're gonna have to give other shareholders more shares so that Antera's percentage is lower? Not a clue. I don't know how they get around it. Yeah. How did they get around it, Monkey? Do you know? Do you have an idea? Any? Nope. She has no idea. She doesn't know how to get around it. So sorry, GME Machine. They're going to have to do some sort of house cleaning to really eat away at those folks. But if you're a company that has 30% if you're a hedge fund that has 30% of a company, you're going to want seats on the board. We're going to say, okay, well, if we're 30% of the company, I want some concessions. I want you to put my guys on the board. I want you to put my dude at, VP of whatever. I want an executive VP here. I want, a C-level executive in as a CFO or whatever. You get them to make concessions, and they're in the position to do that. And I don't know how they're going to clean house. I honestly don't have a clue. Monkey looks jealous every time I pet the kitty. Monkey, you jealous when I pet the kitty? Oh yeah, that's a little kitty right there. Yeah, staring right at him, going, "You son of a bitch." Okay. He's not orange, he's fool's gold. If you're on AMC, those guys who bankrupted companies from the inside in the 80s were called vulture capitalists. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole play. You do your leverage buyouts, you destroy the company. You have hedge funds on the outside that will help you do that and short the company in oblivion. And then you have the competitors who will buy up all the scraps and assume the market share. It's a beautiful, beautiful little symbiotic, parasitic industry. It's absolutely just brutal. And there needs to be incentives to not destroy companies. Like, I don't know. And I'm not sure exactly how you do that. How you incentivize the not destroying companies, other than making leverage buyouts illegal. Like, you can't borrow money to buy a company. Just either you have the money or you don't, and that should maybe be the way it is. Perhaps, making short selling illegal or naked short selling illegal. Eliminate that option. Yeah, it's tricky business because there's just so many loopholes that allow them to swoop in and destroy these companies from the inside. Like, I don't know. If you maybe limit executive compensation. So if you've done a leverage buyout to buy a company, you have a minimum or a maximum salary that can be obtained, and you can't get stock options or something after that. Like, if you're going to borrow $1 billion to buy a company, you can't then give yourself a $500 million bonus with that $1 billion, right? I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what the solutions would be on that, but there has to be some way of making it not appealing. Like, if I'm going to destroy KB Toy Hobby by doing a leverage buyout, taking out billions of dollars in loans to buy the company, then saddling the company with a whole bunch of debt, and then accruing more and more loans to give myself huge bonuses while not improving the business, while not making sure that the stores operate successfully. And then once it bankrupts, he goes, "Oh, it's bankrupt," and you walk away with all that cash that you're never going to pay back because it's all sitting in your Vale mansion and your Beverly Hills mansion and your New York brownstone. And there has to be a way to de-incentivize that vulture capitalism. There has to be. Like, oh, your company has several $billion in debt. You can make at most $150,000 a year and you get no stock options until the debt's paid off. And all of a sudden CEOs be like, oh no. Right? Like, can you imagine if a CEO wasn't allowed to take more than a minimum salary and no stock options as long as their company had debt? That would change the entire game. Oh, you had to borrow money? Cool. You're a pauper until you pay it back. Yeah, it'd be... I don't know. I'm sure we could brainstorm some ideas. Sean Lauer, Houston, any thoughts on Bob Iger's remarks to shareholders? Thought Disney and Cedar were separate entities. Problematic. I don't know enough about that to comment. I'm sorry, Sean. I'll have to look that up. I don't have enough time at the moment to go look that up because I have to leave here in a second. Sean Lauer, also Houston, why is lulled halts seem to be limit up and not limit down? That also seems to be happening. Like, stock price skyrockets, they're like, oh, the halt. But then you had companies or banks like SVB dropped, 90% in a trading shift, in a trading day, and they didn't do any halts on the way down. It seems like they should have done some halts on the way down, right? But people go, what's going on? Perhaps maybe we're going crazy. But they didn't do any halts on the way down at all. So no, I think the limit up, limit down is not doing the limit down on a lot of these. Okay, everybody. In just a short while, I'll be on the PP show. I'm going to send out a link via Twitter and the Reddit r/Houston Wade. Excuse me, r/Houston Wade. I'm going to run, eat some food real quick, drink a bunch of fluids, and then I'll be on their show talking about whatever the hell it is they want to talk about. right, everyone. Cool. Monkey butt. Cool. Cat. Cool. Everybody's cool. All right. I'll see you in a little bit on someone else's channel. Bye-bye.